Hey folks, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I'm hoping you're having a great and lovely day. Lots of people in chat already, so let's start at the top. Lubed Helio said Pog, got first, well done. Also asked how I was doing this today. Doing well, thank you. Karcher's here as well, Depleted Vespine, James is here as well, my partner in crime, Daj, Vogon, who else have we got? Himps, nice to see you again. Vogan says, nothing like a ton of free games from Twitch I will likely never play. Interestingly enough, I don't know where they've gone, but through the mail in the past few weeks I've been getting different codes for games. I've got about 10 of these through the post, so I know how you feel, although it's not Twitch, it's something else, but I know how you feel. We've also got Jeremy here as well. It's Logo for Poop, that's a great username, Derek, Julam, Penguin Droppings is here as well. Lots of people. Flexman subscribed at tier 1 for 6 months. Thank you very much, Flex. Thank you. Who else have we got here? Anarchy's here as well, saying thank you to Flexman for the emotes. Thank you. Jerkin says melon bread. Yeah, absolutely, it's here. Hey Jay, you made a board based on a meme by Heine. How does it feel? I didn't know Heine had a meme, but okay. If I did, great. Yeah, sure, fantastic. I'm not quite sure which meme you're referring to, I'm afraid, man. But hey, post the link, I'll take a look. Badri on YouTube says hi man. Wilson as well. George MK says hello and subscribed for 8 months as well. Thank you very much. So a couple of subscriptions there, nice and early. So thank you very much for that, guys. Derek says the JL1 looks so nice. I'm glad you think so. That's my personal board. It's one of the original ones. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so a few things that we're going to talk through today. First thing is we're going to do the Jaescore from last week. If you guys remember, I built the Lubrigante here last week with the lovely orange base, the Wonderland PCB, and the PPS caps. Now I have been using this a little bit during the week, and I did move it over to GMK, but because we built the board with the PPS keycaps, I thought it best to put these back on for the stream today, so that's exactly what I've done. The board is a little bit dusty, you probably can't quite see that, but that's because it's just been in use, so it is a little bit dusty. But hey, these things happen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a Jaescore for this. The next thing we're going to do after we've done that Jaescore is we're going to build this, which is the Jerkin. So this is I think it's a 39 key, 30% Alice style layout, lead acrylic. I've got all the components laid out ready to go on the PCB. Build for this is probably going to take me a little bit longer than normal because, as you can see, there are no components on this PCB, so I need to add them all, which is fine, we can do it. It's just going to be interesting and might take us a little bit longer than expected. But hey, we'll go for that. So that's the stream today. Just catch up with what's happening in chat. That Lubrigante with black on black looks so good. Thank you very much, Vogon. Thank you. Watching some chill keyboard builds on my Sunday evening. Nice. I'm glad you are. Does that mean you're in the UK or the EU, Badri? Because it's 8 PM here. So yeah. Maglev was a meme by Heine. Oh, was it? I never saw that. So, I mean, I think everyone in the community has talked about doing it at some point. So, Maglev's kind of like a thing that everyone's talked about at some point. So, yeah. Jeremy says PPS caps. Yep, these are PPS. Tronics says hi. Hi, Tronics. Good to see you. It's Chris. Thank you very much for the 6 months of subs. That PCB, yo. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on the PCB. It's just two smiley little faces. LMAO, it even has the same name, I believe. The Lodestone? Does it? I couldn't find anything when I googled for names earlier on. I was looking for things that said Lodestone on, and I couldn't find anything in the keyboard world. But hey, if it is, then I'll let Heine come to me. Oh, Maglev's just magnetic levitation. That's not the same name. I mean, everything's called maglev where magnets levitate something. So repulse, that's just the technology. So two magnets repulsing each other and pushing each other apart is magnetic levitation. They use it in trains. They use it in some engine parts. It's even used to some extent in current computer builds inside old hard drives and things like that as well. So yeah, it's just a technology. Magnetic levitation. It refers to literally a term where two magnets repulse each other and you have something on top of the top magnet. Simple as that. How would that feel in typing? I'd like to think it'll give a soft bottom out as you're typing on it. The real answer is I don't know, and that's why we're ordering prototypes. So the order's gone in for some prototypes. As soon as those arrive, Flex, who's in chat, Flexaman, and I will be building them, and we'll try those out, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, really excited to see. I will be completely and brutally honest. If the prototypes are crap and it feels horrible, I will say so. So don't worry about that. But I'm feeling pretty confident about it. What else are we talking about here? Ascendrum says, hello, fellow ISO person. Hello. Good to see another ISO user. Magnets used in health as well. Yeah, let's not talk about that, Wilson. I'm not really into talking about magnets for health. That's, if people want to believe that and think about that, then fine. I don't want to use that as part of my interest check, or as part of mine and Flexaman's interest check. What's going on, dude? Says Day and Daddy. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Was curious due to the video on the IC. So the video on the IC is 2 pieces of board, kind of like that, with magnets on one side, magnets on the other side, and then 2 poles to kind of keep alignment. Now the case will do that for us as part of the build, but effectively it was just to test how far away you would need the magnets to be, and how close you could have them, and how much compression it would take, and things like that. So yeah, that's where that comes from. Those Kipporas though, yeah, I've got a few more than that. I've got quite a few more than that somewhere. I think there's some in that case there, which this is the only case I have out, but I have quite a few cases of artisans, so there's some more Kipporas in here. Hold it up to the camera so you can see. And I have some others as well lying around. I think most of the other ones are actually on boards at the minute as well. Okay, so I think I've given a pretty good introduction to what we're going to do on stream today. We're going to do the Jaescore for this, the Lubrigante by Homero Co. and the PCB by Martin Wood. Once we've done that, we're then going to build the Jerkin, and once we build the Jerkin, we'll give that a Jaescore as well, and we'll see how we feel about that. I'm really interested to see how that feels and looks. I haven't actually picked any caps up for this yet, actually. What caps shall we use? In fact, I know the answer to this already. Because it's green, we'll go with this set, which is Jim K Royal Alpha. There we go. Put that to one side, ready for post the stream. Also, who cares about Kipporas when you have that lovely ISO macro pad in view? Yeah, it's actually unplugged at the minute, but yeah, it's great. I use it nearly every day. The reason it's unplugged at the minute is because I needed to use the cable for something else outside of the office. That does remind me though as well, I do need to get a cable ready for that particular build, because the Pro Micro uses a USB mini, I believe. Let me just double check that before we go any further. Will it be manufactured in the EU? No, the prototype Dior, if you mean the Lodestone, that won't be manufactured in the EU, no. The actual production run, if there is one, TBC. So I'm just going to check I've got the right cable here. I do. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. We'll use the UHMWPE stems for the Gateron Black Milky Top. Nope, they're just completely stock Gateron Milky Blacks. I haven't bothered lubing these or anything else. I'm just quite interested in the feel of them in the particular board. So yeah, just steady away. Let me plug this in and get it ready for use later on. Okay. So, first things first, let's get the Jaescore for the Lubrigante done. Let me bring up the Jaescore spreadsheet. There we go. Okay, so please cast your minds back to last week, folks, if you were watching. If you're watching for the first time today, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to rate this keyboard based on a series of different categories. So we've got the categories of build score, which is the first column that we're going to look at, or the first 3 columns that we're going to look at, which are these ones here. I forgot it did that. There we go. Then we're going to look at the home score, which is these columns across here. Then we're going to look at the work score. Then there's a bit of automated stuff, and then right at the end we're going to give it a final position, which is our hot take, and a final grade as well, which is automatically calculated based on the scores we get. So casting your minds back to last week, the first thing we need to talk about is the build score. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each of the subcategories within the categories, so the ease of build, packaging and first impression. You guys are going to then try and put a score into chat for the community score. I'm going to give it a score whilst you guys are doing that, and I'll talk about my rationale as equals to y, and then we'll just give it the 2 separate scores. I'll try and take an average of what you guys give me. Scores between 0 and 10, we can have 0.5 but no 0.2, 0.3, etc. Just 0.5 and on the number, so whole integers or half integers. We'll go through the build score, we'll do the home score, we'll do the work score, and then we shall see how well the keyboard's rated. So, first things first, guys, give me scores out of 10 for the ease of build. So last week when we put the Lubrigante together, was it difficult to put together? Do you think I struggled? 5 is an absolutely average score, so if something takes 5, that's not difficult, it's not hard, it's just perfectly easy to do. If it's more difficult, it's a lower score. If it's more easy, it's a high score. So that's where we need to pitch it out. For me, I think while you guys are putting these scores in the doors there for this one, I think it's a little bit more difficult to build than, say, a standard 2-piece case, because you've just got your switches to solder and your stabs to put in, and then you screw the 2 parts of the case together with some sort of mounting in there, whether that be top mount, bottom mount, or otherwise. This is a little bit more difficult because you've got multiple layers of material to try and put together, but I wouldn't say it was difficult at all. Everything went together well, all of the parts fitted pretty easily, there was no challenge in terms of size, even the 5mm thick plate didn't cause any cause for concern. I'm going to give this a right down the middle of the road 5. It wasn't difficult, it wasn't particularly easy, but it should be doable by anyone of any skill. Let's see what score you guys gave it. Very few of you responded on this one, so 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 5, 6, 7. So the 5 and the 7 cancel each other out and give us a score of 6. Everyone else put a 6. So for this one, the community score is a 6. Okay, on to the packaging then, folks. I think I've got it to hand still. So the board came in this box. It was actually in 2 boxes. It was split over 2 boxes. I don't think I showed that on stream, but it was wrapped in bubble wrap, plenty of bubble wrap inside the box. Not much room for movement. Excuse me, because I've just dropped all the parts back in here. But it was pretty solid. The box was wrapped in some waterproof wrapping as well, so it wasn't going to get any rain damage or anything like that. So guys, give me a score with a timestamp of 16 or onwards for your score on the packaging. I think it's perfectly adequate. It's safely packaged, it wasn't going to get damaged, it's not anything like Keycool. I'd say middle of the road, maybe just under, but it was perfectly adequate. I wouldn't want to take anything away from that. It's all the bits falling apart inside. Again, I think I'm going to give it a middle of the road 5 on this. It was perfectly adequate packaging. It wasn't anything like Keycool where it was a custom box with custom artwork and all of that kind of stuff. I'm just going to give it a perfectly adequate 5. I'll give you guys another 3 or 4 seconds to finish filling out your scores. Okay. 5's average geo, not under 6, should have issues. 5 is, it did its job. 4 would be, there was some slight damage in transit. 6 would be, it was pretty good. 10 is, wow, that packaging is spot on. That's kind of in my head. Okay, stop it there, guys. Let's see what we got from a 16 timestamp. So, its logo for poop came up with a 5. So did Vogon and Professor Cattington. Good evening, Professor Cattington. Ugly box, but safely packaged. Completely agree. That's why I went for a 5 as well. 4 and 4, 4.5, a 6, a 5, a 5, a 3 from Jeremy. 6 from Geo. 5, 6. Okay, interesting. A couple more 5s. Bumper should be 10. Okay, I didn't see the bumper one, but okay, I'll take your word for it. 5 and a 4. Okay, so I think you guys are pretty much averaging out. There's a couple of low scores like 3s and 4s. There's a couple of high scores like 6s. I think overall, pretty much agreement on this one. I think you guys are pretty much saying a 5 as well. Okay, first impressions then, guys. When I took this out of the box last week, if you can cast your minds that far back, which is very difficult for me to do because I'm getting old now, but if you try and cast your minds back, we're looking for an 18 timestamp on this one, guys. So anything with a timestamp of 80 minutes past the hour, give me a score on first impression. So when I showed you this for the first time, I showed you that it was matte black. I showed you that I'd got the orange. What score would you like to give it from there? While you guys are putting that in, my view on this was it was way nicer than I was expecting. The cut, the finish and everything else, the first impression jumped out at me. The matte, as soon as I pulled off the tape, it was like, yes, I like that. I'm really glad it's not shiny black. So I'm going to give this a 7.5 for myself. I think it was way more impressive than I was expecting to be for what is you know, an acrylic board, and the PCB was really nice as well. The PCB looked great, really nice clean traces, very nice. Okay, I'll give you guys another minute or so just to keep putting your scores in from that one, and then we'll finish up the build scores. We'll move on to the home scores. Yeah, so one of the other things as well is there's an additional top layer on this one that wasn't on some of the other ones, which just makes it nicely high profile. So you can see on the front edge there, it's so dark is the board, it's difficult to show you, but you can see on the front edge it is nicely high profile. It's not low profile. Okay, so stop there then, folks. Let's see what you guys come up with. So we're looking for an 18 timestamp. So 7, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 7, 6. I think we're about a 6.5 here. And then a couple more 7s as well. So I think you guys are probably going 6.5, so a little bit lower than I did, but not outrageously so. 5's average, remember. 5's average for this. Anything higher is good. The addition, many of us didn't have that luxury, unfortunately. Yeah, this is the wild card. I should actually add that to this part here. I should say that this is the wild card version. That's a good shout. Okay, there we go. Added. Okay, so that's the build scores done. Now it's time to jump over onto the home score. So we're looking for timestamps of 20 for the first one. So $135 to get this board without the keycaps and without the switches, including the PCB, including shipping. What do you think, guys? Is that a good price? Is that a bad price? $135. 5 means it's meh, it's all right for the money. 1 means no, it's absolutely not worth it. It's got no value from that perspective. And 10 means yes, it's worth every bang for its buck. I think this is the category for me where this scores really highly. For this board for $135, that's really, really good value. I'm going to give this a 9 because I think it's absolutely worth that any day of the week. Give you guys another couple of seconds to fill it out, but I was really impressed with the quality of this, and I know there's other versions on the market as well that I haven't tried, so I do need to try some of those as well, and we'll see what we get to. Okay, in the interest of time, pause it there, guys. Let's see what you've got. So we've got 2 8s from James and Julam, a 9 from Karcher, a 10 from Adrian Q-Kick, Vogan gives it a 6, Ziant gives it an 8, a couple more 8s there as well. A couple of 9s, a couple of 8s again, a 9.5 from Penguin dropping, that's a high score. A couple of 7s, an 8 and a 9 as well. 8 because it's fantastic, but it's Alice layout. If this was a standard layout, fair enough. Okay, so I think you guys are broadly in agreement with me, maybe slightly lower. There's more 8s than anything else, so I'm going to go for an 8 from your guys' perspective. And then it's time to jump over to the style category. So now we're going to look for 21 timestamps and onwards. But what do you think from a style perspective? Is this a stylish board? Does it look good? Do you like the way that the edges are kind of rounded here? If it focuses, come on camera, focus. Focus camera. Like steps around here in the clavier style. It's very, very interesting. From a style perspective, for me, I think it looks great. The matte looks fantastic. The black keycaps really set it off nicely. It's almost, you know, invisible in some lights when you get into a room and it's dark in there. The orange base just sets it off nicely. I think that's really good. I'm going to go for an 8 personally. I'm trying not to see what you guys are going for, so I'm not influenced by that. But from a style perspective, I think 8 absolutely is up there. Okay, so we're starting at 21 timestamps. Let's see what you guys came up with. Melodet says an 8.5. Zui says a 7. Vogon said 7 as well. Dead Pocket was there with a 6. Sendrum, Ziant, and Adrian Q-Kick had 9, 7, 8 respectively. Couple of 6s, couple of 7s, couple of 8s. 7.5 from Depleted Vespine. Interesting. 7 from Karcher says, I like the matte black and orange combo. Professor Cattington says, I'm imagining scraping my wrists on that. Can't really scrape your wrists on it. Left loads of dead skin on there now. Conan said I said 7 before, but now I think I'd say a 6. Are the screws countersunk? No, so the screws aren't countersunk. The screws are not quite flush with the top. They are raised slightly. I'm not sure how easy it is to see that on the black. Probably see it better on the orange at the bottom, actually, just here. Okay, so I think you guys are probably a little bit lower than me. There's some 9s up there, and there's a lot of 7s, there's a couple of 8s, there's a lot of 6s. I think you guys are probably going to be close to a 7 on the style. Let's move on to quality then, guys. So looking at a 23 timestamp for this one, what do you think about the quality of the board? Was this good quality? I mean, it's pretty rigid. I can't really flex it or twist it or bend it or move it. It feels pretty solid. The laser cutting was on point. All of the holes aligned. There was no issues with that from that perspective. Everything aligned nicely. I've got to be honest, I think in terms of the quality of the cut, I was very surprised. I was expecting it to be a lot different to what it is. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as nice. And I was pleasantly surprised, even down to how tight the USB port is. It was really nice. So I'm going to give this an 8 as well for quality. So we're looking at everything over a 23 timestamp. So we've got a 7 for the start off, 6, top looks great, everything else not my thing. We did talk about the screws not being countersunk. 8 or 9 if the screws are flush, 6, 6, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. You guys are all going 7, so I'm going to give it a 7 from your perspective. Okay, let me just pause the music. You guys probably can't hear the music anyway, but I do have music on. So the next thing we're going to do is the typing sound. I'm not going to type properly on this, but I'm going to give you a taste of what it sounds like. I did do this last week as well, so you can always go back and listen to that if you need to. But we're now going to listen to the typing sound, and then I'll do the typing field score myself. So, ready, scores at the door, guys, for anything with a 25 timestamp before the sound. Give it a mark out of 10. Give some mod keys a go. Okay, so when we talked last week, one of the things I was most surprised by was the sound. I thought it was really, really impressive for a board that's made of acrylic. I've never liked an acrylic board before in terms of its sound. I thought this was really nice. I want to give this an 8. I think it's that good. The only downside I had was this row here, which is the Z row, the ZXC row. And when I put GMK caps on there, it sounded much better. So the PPS cap's letting it down just on that particular one. But I'm judging it as this build, which is why I've knocked a little bit of mark off. I'd have probably gone for an 8.5 if I had GMK keycaps on it. Okay, let's see what you guys had to say. I just saw James's comment, we'll come to that in a second. So we're looking at 25 timestamps, so 5, 8, 6, 9, 8, 7, 8, 8, 7. Gosh, everyone going up and down. Logo for Poop changed to an 8, so we'll scrub the 5. Everyone's above a 6 at the minute. Julian said 7. James said 7, Cattinson said 8, Penguin Dropper said 8.5. Really surprised how it sounded. Same, absolutely same. That typing discipline. Alright, James, bugger off. Bugger off. Better than I was expecting. Those are PPS caps, and if so, wouldn't that skew the score? It does, but we're judging it based on this particular build. We're not judging it based on how it could be with anything else. I did build it with PPS keycaps last week. I used GMK on it during the week, and then I changed it back to PPS keycaps for this because that's what we built it as last week. We judge it on the build. I can't judge it on anything else because that'd be unfair. So 8, 8, 7. Professor Cantor says, so acrylic boards, new and hip. I see a lot of these all of a sudden. They definitely seem to, yeah. Okay, so I think your guys' scores probably broadly in agreement with me. Maybe slightly lower because there's a couple of 6s in there. So I'm going to go for 7.5 from you guys. Okay, typing feel, you guys are going to have to take my word for it. It's quite firm because of the 4mm thick plate, but it's not unpleasant. It's kind of nice to type on. Again, nicer than I was expecting. It is a firm bottom out, so if you don't like that, that's maybe not for you. I'm going to give this a 6, which is just above average for me. But given the fact that it's so cheap, that's not a bad score for something that's in this kind of price range. Okay. One blue guy says, is that the Lubrigante? Yes, this is a Lubrigante. Yes, this is one we built last week on stream. Lubrigante, this is the wildcard version. We're using a matte black top, orange base, and PPS keycaps. Personally, I don't like acrylic cases at all. That's fine, Conan. It's all subjective. All subjective. They're affordable, nice entry point. Absolutely, yeah. As AKB James says, yeah. I would just worry about beam bristle cracking. I don't think I could crack this if I tried once it's built. Maybe each of the individual layers, but not once it's built. It's solid as a rock. I don't think that'd happen. Okay, so in terms of the typing feel, we've done that. It is quite firm. If you don't like that, bear that in mind. Innovation. So next score then, guys, marks out of 10. Is this innovative or is this not? If you think it's really innovative and it's got some cool new features that you've not seen before, give it a high score. If you think it's not innovative and it kind of copies other things and it's derivative, then give it a low score. I have to be honest, my view on this one is we've seen a lot of Alice cases recently, not just acrylic style ones, but which there are multiple, but we've also seen lots of other style Alice cases as well. Now, Alice as a layout is fine, I don't have a problem with it, I quite like to use it. It's the only way I can use an ANSI board regularly, because my hands are squiffed, so curved enough so that the enter key feels the same position as an ISO would on a standard square board like the Jet one. But I feel like when this first came out, we would have all said it was really innovative. Now, I feel like not so much. Sure, it's acrylic. We've seen acrylic be done before. It's got a good PCB, but loads of boards do. I don't see anything that gives it a high score from an innovation perspective, and I'm just going to give it a 3 from my view. Let's see what you guys come up with. Demon has said 0. That's a harsh score. 4, 5. 5 is run-of-the-mill Vogon, so I can appreciate scores up to that point. 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 1, 4, 4, 5, 2, 2. It's a copy, but at least it's 2 colours. That's a good point, yes. Do you think there will be another round? I'm absolutely sure there'll be another round. One blue guy. I am positive that will happen. So yeah, Adrian Kukik gives it a 4.5. Vinan gives it a 3. Unless there is an ISO Lubrigante, then I will rate it a 10. Fair enough. And Gio says a 4 as well. Okay, so I think overall you guys are broadly in alignment. There's a couple of higher scores, a couple of 5s, a couple of 4s, but there's also a couple of 1s. So let's go for a 3 from you guys as well. And then we're going to go for the cool factor, guys. So if you saw this on someone's desk as you walked past it, the build, we haven't done the build yet, Disco Crocodile. Don't worry, we're building this board. This is just the Jaescore from last week because we didn't do it. But if you saw this on someone's desk as you were walking past, do you think it's cool? Do you think it looks good? How cool do you think it is? I think this is pretty cool, especially in these colours. Bloody Apple software updates, go away. Especially in these colours, I think it looks great. This hint of orange that you see when it's on the desk, you kind of see it from that angle when you're walking past the desk. It just looks good. I've been really, really impressed with it. I'm going to give it a 7. I don't know if that's high. I'll have a look at what you guys are saying in a second. But I'm going to give it a 7 from a cool factor perspective. Zian says 6, James says 6, Jeremy says 7.5, Krasios and Demon House says 5 and 7 respectively. Its logo for poop says 4. It's quite a low score. Wilson says quite cool, to be honest. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. A 6.5. Better than a Dell membrane for sure. Yes, very much agree. No legends on the caps equals cool. That's a fair comment. Two more 7s. I'd say nothing and quietly palm it into my sport coat and then leave, says Talisman. Fair enough. A couple of 7s and another 6 from depleted Vespine. Okay, so I think overall the arching score there was a 7 from you guys, so I'm going to give you guys the same as me too. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the work score segment, which is the last 3, and then we can finish the Jaescore on this and move on to today's build, which is going to be quite complex because I don't always do these kind of fiddly bits and pieces, diodes and whatnot. But first of all, practicality. So we're looking for a timestamp starting 32. Do you think this board's practical? It's pretty light. We can weigh it and give you an idea of how easy it is to carry about. Let me do that for you just now. So in grams, it weighs 843 grams. For those in America, that's 1 pound 14 ounces, give or take. So it's not a heavy board, but it's not particularly light either. So bear that in mind from a practicality perspective. It's just bigger than a 60%, but it'd fit in your bag quite nicely, I think. You get a keyboard sleeve for it. I think it's pretty practical. I'm going to give it a 6.5, 6.5 from me. Okay, you guys not scoring this one? Okay, you don't have to score it if you don't want, but timestamps for 33. Go on. Go on. You're missing the scores. I don't know. So practicality, let's see what you guys have said then. A couple of 7s, a 6, a couple of 6s, a 5, a couple more 7s. Karcher gives it a T. Sure, yeah, Karcher, I agree. Practically 7 given you can type on the layout. Fair enough. Okay, so I think you guys are broadly giving it a 7 from that perspective, so we can add that in. Jump over to the next one then, guys. So we're going to look for a timestamp of 34 on this one, so just hold off on them a second and so I can count the difference. But when you take this one into consideration, would this be acceptable on your desk in the office? If you took this into the office, is it going to create a stir? Is it going to be too different? Are people going to look at it weird? Are people going to complain? Are people going to say anything about it? Note that this isn't from a volume perspective, this is just from a look and kind of feel perspective in terms of being in your office. Timestamp 34, guys, give it a score out of 10. 10 means it's absolutely acceptable, it will fly by night in the office, no one will ever notice it, and it will be absolutely acceptable. 1 means everyone's going to notice it and you're not going to stop answering questions about it, or you might even be told to take it away. So bear those in mind. From my perspective, I think this is absolutely run-of-the-mill. I could quite easily argue that it's an ergonomic board and that's why I was using it. It's probably going to generate a few questions because of the orange base and where the legends are on the keycaps. Why have you not got legends on the keycaps? That will be an often come up question in my office as well. I think from an office acceptance perspective, I'm going to go with a 6 from my view. Okay, pause there on these ones. 4 from Krasios, 4 from James, 9 from Julum, 9 from Demon Has, 2 9s, wow. Bigfoot says 5, Dead Pocket says 9, a couple of 4s there as well. A 10 from It's Logo for Poop. He thinks it's absolutely going to fly away in his office, no one's going to notice it. Maybe he works from home. Vogan says 7, a couple of 6s, couple of 5s, a 9, a 7, 8 with that colour scheme and layout, fair enough. Demon Has changed his to a 3. Everyone will ask about it. Fair enough. No one will use it because it has no legends. 8. 5 from Helpingly, 6 from Karcher. What kind of work would force you to stop using keyboards? So some companies don't like people taking their own keyboards in. So maybe bear that in mind. It happens. So I think you guys are probably a little bit higher than me overall because of some of the high scores there. I'm going to give you a 7.5 from you guys. And we'll see how that goes. And then the final one, the noise volume. So is this going to be acceptable in the office? So 10 means it's going to be absolutely fine, no one's going to notice it, no one's going to complain, it's not an MX Blue clacking in the office. 1 means it's too loud and people are going to tell you to take it away. So I'll talk whilst I type, I'll pretend type on this. You guys tell me what you think. Is this going to be too loud? Or is this going to be absolutely fine? Could you have a conversation with this going on in the background? Can you still hear the music in the background? Can you hear what I'm saying? I think this is perfectly adequate. I'm going to give it a 7. Give it a 7. I would quit that job, bro. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the type of company you work for. I work for a big bank, and they used to be really obscure about bringing stuff in USB ports and stuff. Even on my laptop, if I plugged in a USB stick or a USB mouse or a USB keyboard at one point, that all used to be locked down. And nowadays, they've very much changed. It's much more open. We're more of a software house than a bank these days, so people are pretty much more open about it. But at one point, it used to be really, really locked down. Okay, so let's see what you guys said. 665697796. A couple more 7s there, 3 more 7s there, 5, another 3 7s, 8 from Professor Cassington. Most of us use headphones while we're syncing anyways. And Catch says 5. My co-workers are picky. That sucks, man. That sucks. Overall, I think you guys were going 7 because there were so many 7s there. So let's pop that in, and that completes the Jaescore for the Lubrigante. So let's see how it did. Okay, so this gets a score of 66% from me and 65% from the community, and it gets a B rating overall. So that puts it in line with the Brass Key Cult number 2, the Canoe PC, the community score for the Unicorn, my score for the Equinox, and both scores for the Lin Whale as well. So there we go, guys. That's where it puts it. In terms of my hot take, this is by far the nicest acrylic board I've built. I do have other acrylic boards I haven't built yet. James, noting you, I've got your Rain to build at some point. But this is the nicest acrylic board I've built so far. Okay. So there we go. That is the Jaescore done for the Lubrigante. Pretty good score there, all things considered. Yeah, absolutely. There's not a score to be sniffed at. Yeah, the ISO is the best keyboard on the market. Yeah, it gets the only A+ rating on the Jaescore. But there we go. There we go. Okay, so there we go. That's the Jaescore done for that particular build. So we'll turn that off and we'll move the keyboard away. So say goodbye to the Lubrigante. But yeah, there we go, guys. Okay, so now we've done that, it is time to get on to the actual build for tonight. Now, I do apologise for not doing the Jaescore for that last week. I locked myself stupidly out of my Google account 2 minutes before I started streaming. It was a whole thing. It's fixed now. We can do Jaescores again. Zian said Jay bins it. No, it's just down here at the side of me. It's actually next to my work laptop because I'm going to take it into work next week. So, yeah, there we go. I'm going to take it into work and see how that gets. But it's just down here next to my work laptop and everything else that I need to pack for work tomorrow. So there we go. As I said, today's build is the Jerkin. So if you guys haven't seen this, this is a 30% Alice style layout with a rather interesting PCB of a gherkin cut in half. It does have the lovely Jerkin 30 logo here, and if you flip it over, I'm not going to read this out and I'm not going to hold it close enough for you to read it either because there's some words that probably shouldn't be on here, but there is a whole meme on the bottom. Now this is a whole copy pasta, which is crazy, and apparently the first time I use a keyboard it's going to type this out, so I need to be very, very careful when we do that. This is produced by Hedgie and Worldspawn, if you can see that, Hedgie Worldspawn collaboration, so thank you very much to you guys for sending me this to build. I'm quite excited about it to see how it goes. Dead Bucket says I graduated top of my class. Absolutely, yeah, it's that kind of thing. Terms of service is fine. This is just a regular pickle cut in half, so that's fine. I don't think there's any problems with that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So a 30% Alice style layout. I'm interested to see what you guys think of this. Just from the PCB, what do you think to that kind of layout, guys? Do you think that that's usable? Do you think that's something that's going to be easy to adapt to? Or do you not? How do you feel about it, guys? Looks like a man part. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, but are you posh? Not usable for me, I'll be honest. Unusable for me. I feel like it's going to be unusable for me as well, but it's quite fun. Taking a 30% to the office. It looks small for even 30%. I think it's 39 keys, I think, if I remember rightly. I haven't counted them, we'll see. I've lubed 45 switches, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah. Used as a keyboard like this as a second unit for a different alphabet, but never as a main driver. Yeah, someone suggested to me that it could be an artisan holder. Oh, yeah, Wilson, there you go. New home for your computers, yeah. Worldspawn made Jerkin. Yes, Worldspawn and Hedgie. It says so just there. Worldspawn and Hedgie collaboration. So there we go. Penguin Dropin says, I just want this keyboard to troll anyone who wants to use my office for the day. That's a perfect use for it. Just build it, leave it on your desk, and see if anyone dares use it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Where can someone get this? If you join the 40s Discord, there is a Jerkin channel. If you ask them there, I'm sure someone will be able to help you out or tell you how to get hold of one. This one was sent to me by Worldspawn and Hedgie to just build on stream. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate that. Worldspawn is a very helpful guy overall. Yeah, so I'm glad he helped you out. It's Logo for Poop. I'm really glad he helped you out. Okay, so let's go through the bits and pieces that we've got. We've got a couple of LEDs. I think these are indicator LEDs, and these go in the front middle of the board. So these sit here and here. So we'll pop those in later on. We've got some hardware and some fixings. I shouldn't need these just yet. We'll do those last, and some bump-ons as well. We'll come to those last when we're actually putting the board together. We have a raft of diodes. Lovely diodes. I don't have a diode bender, so I'm going to be bending these by hand. Please look away if you don't like me doing that. But we'll be putting those in. Some more bits and pieces here as well. There's a reset button and what I believe are resistors. So we shall see how those go. We've got some push pins for the Pro Micro. So there we go. We'll be using those as well. And then we have the Pro Micro itself. So there we go. Now I am going to be cheating. I do have an image to hand that shows me how this will be put together. It also shows some of the text on it, so I will share that in chat so you guys can go and have a look at the image and maybe read some of the text. There we go. But I'm not going to show the image on stream because well, you can look at your own peril, guys. That's what I will say. So yeah, so I'm going to build this up now, and then we'll put the case together afterwards. This case is a one-off colour called Kiwi Lime, which is quite nice. It has got cover on it, so you can see it's very different when we take the cover off It's a lot cleaner, so we will do that in due course. But the first thing to start with is the diodes, and popping all of the diodes into the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop all these in, then once I pop them in I'll solder them, then I'll clip them, and then we'll move on to the next component, and we'll go from there. It should be relatively easy. More PCBs need copy pasta. Sure, yeah. So we're going to put a diode in for every switch. The way I bend diodes is I literally put them over my finger and I bend them. If you guys dislike that, please look away. I'm going to check I've got the right orientation on these. And then I just bend the legs back out once it's on the other side. And we're just going to go through and put all of these diodes in. All 30 odd of them. Gonna be a long day with the diodes? No, it'll take us not too long. We'll get it done fairly quickly. This is probably going to be longer than most build streams because there's more to do. It's not just a case of doing stabs. Although there is no stabs on this board, so we save time there. Instead of having to do stabilizers, we don't have to do any, which will save some significant time. Well, yeah, I don't put the diodes in all of the boards, you see, depleted recipe. Most boards have diodes pre-installed from the factory when they come with most keyboards these days. So you don't have to do this for many boards. Okay. Diodes and resistors, yes, we're installing those first. Diodes first, then we'll do the resistors, then we'll do the reset button, then we'll do the LEDs and the switches all at the same time, and the Pro Micro as well. I'll have to have a look and see if I need to do the Pro Micro first. I'm not sure if I do. Some boards you do, some boards you don't. We'll have a look and see how that plays out in a second. Later try to put your Kiporas on it once they're all completed. They're not all to hand, that's the problem. I could probably do it for next week's stream and have it in the background or something, but not all my Kiporas are to hand at the minute. So some of them are on build, some of them are on artisan holders. I think I have got about 40, so I probably could outfit it. If I can, I shall do it for next week and show you guys it. Okay, almost there, putting these in for the first row. I'll bet if I don't drop them. Oh, he has enough. Yeah, I've got a few Kiporas. I think I've got more for Cthulhu's though. Do the Jaescore with Kiporas on? No, because that doesn't give the board an accurate, fair reflection. This is where I need someone like Anarchy, because Anarchy is amazing at soldering all of the small bits and pieces and doing all of the kind of detailed work like this, whereas this isn't something I do often enough to be good at it. Okay. Posh automobile. What is it? A 67 Chrysler Imperial? Nice car. Not one for me, but sure. It's a Parliament of Owls, yes. A Parliament of Owls, yes. Council of Kippur is governed by a board, but that's a bit of a flat joke, but not one that I disapprove of. Okay, that's the first row done. Then we'll move on to the second row. Remember, there's only 3 rows on this board, so we're a third of the way through putting the diodes in. And remember, there isn't any stabilizers on this board at all. It's just literally keys. Just keys. There's no stabilizers. There's nothing larger than 1.5U, I think. Okay. Dead pocket rafts. ISO Jerkin when. Hey, if someone made me an ISO Jerkin, I would absolutely build it. If I can build the ANSI Jerkin, I can build an ISO Jerkin as well. But not all boards have to be ISO. It's not really ANSI, no. It's not. It doesn't fit into any of the standard formats, but it's probably closer to ANSI than it is anything else because of the way it looks. Where are we? Okay. 1.25 enter. Yes, 1.25 enter, I believe. We shall see when we get to it. Now, the keycaps, when it comes to them, they're probably going to be the wrong profiles and everything else. I don't have a key set with a 40s compact kit to hand. In fact, I don't know which 40s kits I have, to think about it. This is why I need a spreadsheet, folks. I need a spreadsheet of all my key sets so I can track which ones I have, which ones I don't. Fingers crossed on the table. The thing is, I'm completely layout ambivalent, Talisman. I don't mind if people use whatever they want to use from a layout perspective, as long as they enjoy it. It doesn't matter to me. Just because I'm an ISO user doesn't mean to say I hate ANSI. It's just one of those things. Yeah, I don't have a spreadsheet. I kind of have a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet that tracks all of the keyboards that I have. It used to track price on there. I soon stopped that because that was depressing. There is no answer. There is no ISO. There is only Thai mantra. Split enter. Hey, that's possibly the future. If you do split enter, it's both split ANSI and split ISO. So yeah, just split the enter key. Okay, now we're making some progress. Would it be weird for a US resident to use ISO? No, I don't think so. I know some US residents that do. Mainly because they used to be EU residents and now they're US residents. But, you know, as long as you enjoy it, man, it doesn't matter. There's lots of EU residents that use ANSI, so I don't think where you live or where you're from necessarily should influence it. I mean, it can in some circumstances if that's what you're used to, that's what you grew up with, but I don't think it has to influence it. Okay, on to the final row now, guys. Once these are all in place, as I say, we will solder them in and then we'll clip them. I really like the big key, big ass enter as the community likes to call it, yeah. We don't see enough boards with that on. There is only one thing that really bothers me with the ANSI, the slash. Okay, is that because it's up above the enter key? Is that because you don't like it in that position? I like having it easy to access just off of the space, or off of left shift. Okay. Some modern keyboards still use the big ass enter, do they? I haven't seen anything modern use it for a long time. R2 backspace is where it's at. Yeah, I think... see, the other time I do like to use ANSI is if I'm using HHKB layout. That and the Alice layout are the only times I like to use it. Okay, almost there with these diodes now. We could try out a low thin ISO enter. You mean like the Apple style one? Because the way Apple used to do it was they had a thin ISO enter and shifted everything over by 0.25U. Okay, so I just missed the diode and have to go back and put it in. Nope, you don't mean like that. Okay. Tell me what you mean then, man. Tell me what you mean, because I'm not sure. My new work laptop has a small ISO enter and it sucks. Yeah, my work laptop does the same. I think I've got a HP EliteBook. I think that's the name of it. In my current work laptop. R2 pipe backslash becomes backspace like HHKB, but then the lower part of the ISO enter key and 1U on the R4 becomes the enter key. So you mean ANSI? Oh, okay. I'm not quite sure how I follow then. On row 4. Oh, okay, on row 4. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing there. Not taking it in. Okay, so yeah, okay. So instead of it being like here, you'd have the key there, and then you'd have this, and then the one underneath it. So you'd have the vertical 2U enter there. Interesting. I haven't seen that. Show me that layout. I need to see that layout because I need to make a judgment on whether I would like to try or not. Okay, we had one spare diode. Always good to have a spare. I'm going to go back and check and make sure I've not missed one, but I don't think I did. We just double check, make sure I've got a diode on every point. It looks like I do. I can't see any missing. So now it's time for some solder. Does ISO Jerkin need any changes? Oh gosh, here we go. Here we go. What's this that he's sending me? That link hasn't loaded anything for me. That's just a blank link. It sent me to KLE, but it hasn't. It doesn't show me any keys. Go on, you fix it whilst I get my soldering iron ready. So what we're going to do now is just put a dot of solder on each of these legs going forward on each side. Once we've done that, then I will clip them. Then we'll take a look at putting the resistors in place. Okay, and you guys can also see this is where I burnt myself on the oven earlier on today. Oh, yesterday evening, sorry, making pizzas. Oh, okay, try that link. Okay, let me have a look. Let me have a look. That's awesome. Yeah, if you make one of those, I would love to buy one. Yeah, do it. That's really clever. I like it. Okay, so now just to crack on with the soldering. This might take me a little bit longer than soldering switches, but we should be okay. Okay, and I apologise because this is the most boring part of streams for you guys to watch. Can you guys hear the music in the background as well? If you need me to turn that up, just let me know. And if you guys have got any questions that you want to ask me, if you've got anything you'd like to know about anything I do, whether it be personal, whether it be work related, whether it be keyboard related, feel free to pop those in chat and ask away. I will answer wherever I'm able. Okay. Yeah, music is fine. Good. Glad. Favourite size keyboard? I think if I had to pick overall, I'd probably say 65%. I'd probably go for a 65% most days. I think it's probably the most usable layout, and it's the easiest one to adapt to as well. I do really like my 40s, but I think they're cute. I don't tend to use them all that much, apart from as travel boards with my with my iPad, so I usually use USB-C into my iPad there. The other thing that I tend to like as well is CP style boards or 1800 style boards. There's a reason why I want one of Honeybush's boards. I do quite like those. But I think overall, I'd probably use a 65% and then have something like a macro pad on the side, or like the J01, and have the macro keys embedded within the keyboard. That's probably my ideal layout. What is your top 3 colours for the Prophet? Red, Perestroika red, and bright red. Please do go look at the Prophet as well, guys, because that board is something to behold. It's one of the nicest packages I've ever had the pleasure of building and owning. And I'm actually probably going to do a secondary build of my Prophet at some point soon. So please definitely go check that out. Max is one of the hottest designers in the EU right now, cable car designs. Not only has he done the Prophet, he's also done the Cypher. I think he's got a couple of other projects in the work as well, so you should definitely go check that out. And I think he's actually got a group buy running right now if you want polycarbonate or polypropylene or nylon plates as well. So if those materials would interest you for a plate file, do go have a chat with him, Cable Car Designs. He's usually quite active in the MyKeyboard.eu Discord server. They can ponder my posh pictures if they are bored. Fair enough. Probably get a 65, sure. I want a black Prophet, would be great with white and black, and the Ultratech caps I bought yesterday. Nice, yes. There's nothing wrong with any of the colours of the Prophet. I just really like the red one that I've got. It's pretty much the same colour as these two boards here. In fact, it's almost identical to those, so... Okay. I saw someone else doing a 5mm PC for 60% IC on Geekhack. Yeah, that's not a bad thing. I tried a 5mm PC plate out on one of Zondat's boards, the Noxry T60. I had to give him that particular plate back, but I bought the T60, and that was a really interesting experience, to be honest. It felt like it was about as stiff as normal aluminium 1.5mm plate, but of course it was polycarbonate 5mm. Or 4.8 or whatever it was, and it actually had a really nice sound profile as well. I was very impressed with it. Okay, almost there now with these guys. These aren't taking too long to solder whatsoever. So we're just coming down the last row now here. Once we've done these, I will be clipping them as well, which will take a couple of minutes. And then we'll move on to the next components. Okay. I also need to try and pick up some black shrink wrap as well for cables. This has reminded me. I must remember to do that. That was a huge block of solder. Try and thin that out a bit. Okay, the Fleece of Vespine, I shall have a look at that in a second. I'll open it and I'll talk about that in a minute, okay? It hurts, but I'm intrigued. The youngest keyboard I've seen with anything like that was a beam spring, okay. There was also a giveaway for profit for those that joined GMK Perestroika. There was, yes, I did see that. And Perestroika is a great set as well. I've already joined the group buy for that one. I'm a big fan of those legends on that keycap set. And I also really like the colourway as well. It's really unique. I'll definitely be excited to get that one in the coming weeks and months. Okay, so I think that is all of the diodes now soldered. We have got more soldering to do, so I'm not going to put the iron away fully. We'll leave it just there for now. Should ISO Jerkin have wireless? No, but make it USB-C. Let's use an Elite C, not a Pro Micro. It's very comforting to see that pen wheel in use. Yeah, I do use it all the time. This is my brass pen that I use daily. Fountain pen. There you go. Come on, focus camera. There you go. When I got it, it did look pretty much like that in terms of the brass colour, but over time, maybe over 10 years, it's kind of faded into these kind of patinaed colours. It's really nice. It's quite chunky as well. Okay, so that's all of those soldered on. Next thing to do is to clip all the legs. So I'm just going to bend all of these back up straight, and then we'll go through and clip them. It shouldn't take too long. Then we'll start to look at the rest of the components. Okay. I'm just literally bending all the legs straight so that when I clip them, they'll all come away nice and easily. Okay. Now if you have a diode bender, you don't need to do this. You can just put them in with the diode bender, and then you can pretty much clip them and solder them dead easily. But sadly I don't, so manual labour it is. Okay. Almost there we go. Time to clip. Join GMK Perestroika supporting fellow Cohen hard types Nathan Cohen. Yeah, Nathan Cohen. I joined Perestroika as well. Great set, excellent. Glad to hear it, Karcher. Elite C was going to be my other option, anyways. Yes, definitely look at the Elite Cs. They're very good, very good. Not as beautiful as Phantom. Well, I actually have GMK Phantom coming finally. Having a proper diode bender would be too posh for the everyman. Yeah, so I am very much the everyman. So when it comes to these types of keyboards. Okay, one thing I need to be wary of is not dropping these on the floor, because the last thing I want to do is let the dog get one in her feet. So I'm going to make sure I'm holding on to them as I'm snipping them. And then I can put them straight in the rubbish after the show. Okay. This is where I finish snipping these and then all of the diodes fall out of the other side. It turns out I've not actually soldered any of them. I love Phantom. Favourite purple board, as in keyboard? I don't have any purple boards, I don't think. I tell a lie, I've got one, a KBD 660, which is purple. But I think that's the only purple board I've got right now. I have got another purple board coming. There was a small private group buy for Keycult boards in a purple top and a brass base. Number 2, I have got one of those that's coming. I will have a purple board at that point. I don't think I've got any other purple boards. Make and Modify says good evening, welcome, thank you for joining the stream. I love Phantom, says Duckcom. Yeah, Phantom is a great set, so I'm really excited to be getting hold of that finally. It's on its way at the minute. Almost there with these diodes, not too much longer left. Okay. Okay, getting there now. And there we go, that is all of the diodes installed. So there we go. That's all the diodes installed, guys. Nice and neat. It's almost impossible to see them on all that writing, but they're pretty neat and tidy. I'm pretty happy with those in the end. Okay, so now it is time for me to put on a couple of the other components, so on the base. So one of the ones that we're going to do is the reset switch. Now if you guys haven't seen these before, it is absolutely tiny. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to actually heat the pads. I'm going to put a dab of solder on the pads, and then I'm just going to heat through the pins and melt them together. Once we've done those, then we've got some resistors to put in as well, and then we'll take a look at the Pro Micro and see whether we need to do that first or not. Before I do that, I'm just going to have a look at a depleted Vespin's low thin isoenter. Okay, so that low thin isoenter is the same size as the Apple isoenter, but it's a row lower. You're right. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think I dislike it. I think I dislike it even more than I like it. Well, then I think the order that those are displayed in is the order I like them in. ISO-enter, ANSI-enter, low thin ISO-enter. That order. 1, 2, 3. Radio Blanche as well is here. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for joining, good sir. Very good to see you. So now we've done that, we are going to put on the reset switch, which is here. To do that, as I said, I'm just going to put a blob of solder on each of the 4 points on the PCB. So you can see those just here. I'm going to put it on those 4 first. Once I've done that, I'll bob the switch in place, and then I will heat each of the pins and push it down with a pair of tweezers, and that should then align it all together. Okay, there we go. So it's now got 4 blobs of solder in place. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the swap those around. We're going to take the switch, we're going to pop it in place, we're going to hold it in place. Whoops, if I can hold it in place. And then we're just going to push it down and heat up one of the pads to begin with. Then one of the other pads, and then as we do this bit, we're going to just push it down and try and get it nice and level with the board now. Oops. This is where I'm using completely the wrong solder tip for this. This is by far the neatest, the worst, nowhere near the neatest job I've ever done on one of these. There we go, that is in place now. Let me just check that that's flush. It's not straight, but it's flush. It'll do. It's not quite straight, but it'll do. It'll do. It's close enough. Next thing we're going to do is put in the resistors. So I'm just going to check where these go. I do have that image from earlier on to look at. So these go underneath the LEDs. Okay. So these go in those spots there, and they go, I'm checking which way around they go now. They go this way around, I believe. Hold on, let me just check this picture. So just checking which way around they go, making sure I've got it right. So they go that way around. And then the second one goes the same way around. So once I've got these in, I've got very little left to do. I say very little, we've still got the whole board to solder. I'm just going to now solder these into position. If I attack it from the right angle. There we go, that's those in place. Jay, my friend, going to mod his unicorn so it supports Alps. Interesting. I think that should be relatively easy to do. You can just get an ALP 60% PCB and do that. I think I've seen someone already do that, but I don't think that's a bad idea. Okay, so that's those now in place. What else have we got to do? Just the pins for the Pro Micro now, I believe. So to do this, we're going to pop these in place. Makes sense. And then we're going to solder the first one and the last one in, and then we'll make sure it's all level and present and correct from there. We're just going to put the bumper solder on the first pin, hold it in place. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure that's level, make sure it's all nice and pushed firmly against the base, which it is. I'm going to come down and do the bottom one. Again, just double check that, make sure it's all nice, sturdy and in place, and then we're just going to go pin by pin and solder the rest. I'm just going to touch up the first one. Oops, don't want to bridge them if you can help it. Making sure I'm adding enough solder to get these to work. Okay. And then once these are done, we can then put the Pro Micro in. And then from there, we can solder the switches in place. Okay, that's one done in. There you go. You can see that's now nice and neatly in place. Dubbed the Alpicorn. Nice. Anyone knows where the Elitek footprint, or the Elite C footprint is at? I think you can get it on Germ's website. I'm pretty sure it's there. The Alpaca board. We have Alpaca switches. Again, I'm just going to pop this in place, and then I'm going to push down and do the first pin. Then I'm just going to check it, make sure it's all level. That one's not quite level, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to heat that up as I push it. Now it is level. And I'm going to do the bottom one exactly the same. Check that that's all nice and neat. You can see that's now flush with the base as well. It's all looking good. So I'm just going to go through these and solder these one by one as well. This is where I could use a pair of helping hands, some little crocodile clips or something. Come on. Two more pins left to do, and then I think we're pretty much there. Okay. Oh, the symbol, not the footprint. Oh, sorry, I do apologise. You should be able to find that on Gem's site as well, I would have thought. Anyone tried the Pom Pandas drop solder a while ago, the factory lubed version? Yeah, they weren't great. They weren't great, but they were fine. They were pandas, you could clean them up fine. Okay, so that's both of those sets of pins installed now, guys. I'm just having a good look at them. It's all nice and even and flush. The worst part about my soldering today is that bloody reset switch. I may just remove that and fix it later because it's frustrating me. Next thing to do is to look at installing switches. Then once we've installed the switches, we will put the Pro Micro on, and we'll go from there. So, switch installation upcoming. As I said before, we are using Gateron Blacks. Now, the reason why I'm using these is because I wanted to make sure... Let's get the plate ready. So this is the plate file. So the reason I'm using Gateron Blacks is because I wanted to make sure they had PCB mat legs. Oh, interesting. This is frosted on one side and bright and glossy on the other. Interesting. Swoosh. I missed the bin, but I'll say swoosh and you guys will think I did get it in. Okay, there we go. So these, as I say, I wanted these to just fit into the PCB and have PCB mount legs, just to hold everything together nicely, which is why I went for the Gateron ones. This one's going in the bin. I'm not going to miss it this time. Swoosh. I missed. Okay, so they clip in nicely to the plate. That's good to know. And then we're going to push these into the PCB. Okay, and the switches hold nicely in the PCB. Let's get plenty of switches ready. Okay, I'm just going to put a few in place first. There's not that many switches, so it shouldn't take too long. Oh, interesting. Interesting, it wants to pull apart, it wants to bend. Let's just try making sure that aligns first. Fly. So if you guys can't see what's happening, the board's not staying straight, the board's trying to twist and it actually needs to be up there. I'm not sure if that's because I've got that upside down or not. Oh, it's because I've got the plate file upside down, so that's why. That's why. I have the plate upside down. Whoops. Wait, do I have the... Yeah, that's the bottom. Okay. So the plate actually goes this way. There we go. Okay, which is interesting because the nicer colour was on the other side. The... Okay, that's all pushing together there. Let's try and put a few more switches in. Okay. Mr. Petrov, thank you very much for the 16 months of subs at tier 2 as well. Thank you very much, dude. Genuinely appreciate that. It's very nice to feel loved by Mr. Petrov. Sorry I'm late, but your facial hair looks amazing tonight, Jay. I did have a shave earlier on, so that might help. We've got options now on the bottom row as well, guys. So you guys need to help me pick where we go with some of these options, because I don't have a clue what I'm doing or how usable I'm going to find a board like this. So I might need to rely on your judgment rather than my own. Have there been news of tactile creams, am I right? I don't remember seeing anything on that, but they have been talked about a few times. Oops, lots of switches. Now a 2 on the floor, let's hope I don't need more than 45 switches. Okay, I think that's enough. I think that's enough. Oops. So guys, where I've got choices and options, I'm going to need your guys' help. So where I've got choices and options is I can have the enter key either to the right hand side here, or I can have it to the left there. I think there is going to be better. I think. What do you guys think? Bear in mind, this is how the top's going to sit. He says. Oh, this is how the top's going to sit. Do you think the enter key is right here, or do you think I need to move it over one? I think it's going to be better there, I think. Yeah, let's go for there. Okay. I'm just going to fill up the gaps with the rest of these switches now. I think that's it for choices for the minute. I think there's another choice we need to make on the bottom corners, right and left. I'll let you guys help me with that when I get to them. The worst part about these builds is you never know that you've built it right and all your soldering's on point until you get right to the very end when you put the Pro Micro in place. So we shall see how that goes. Okay, another community choice coming up, guys. Do you think we should go on the left or the right option for here? So there's an option there, or there's an option there. I think, again, on the outskirts is probably better. Tell me if you disagree. If everyone disagrees, I'll change it. Right. Everyone's saying go to the right. Strongly agree. Strongly agree. It reminds me of those tests they used to make you do when you were a kid. Try and find out what you'd be good at. Mine said a jeweler. Mine said I'd be good as a jeweler. Don't know if you guys did them in school when you were there, but effectively it was like a test where it'd ask you thousands of questions, or hundreds, and then it would try and recommend careers for you. And as I say, mine recommended that I would be a jeweler. And I'd make a terrible jeweler, I'll be honest. I would make an absolutely terrible jeweler. I got bridge architect. Nice. Okay, almost there now, guys. Just a few more switches to go. I don't even know what keys these are. This is going to be the crazy thing. Trying to put a keycap set on this one. I don't even know what keys I need. I've not actually seen a picture of one of these built up either, which is the more worrying thing. Okay, now we've got a choice on the last two switches. So even though I dropped switches, I do have two left. So the first one here is the caps lock key, I guess. You've got two, so you can have middle or to the left. I'm going to go to the left. So the LEDs can go in after, I believe. And the reason for that is because the LEDs just drop in, so Vogon, I can just drop the LEDs through these holes in the middle and just push them through, just like so. But I want to do it so that the LEDs towards the top of the holes, not towards the bottom. I think the layer above has a slightly wider hole, so this hole above is slightly wider, so the LED would sit in that layer as well. So that's the way we're going to do it. We don't need to do them just yet. There will be, after we've soldered, I can't get that out. After we've soldered the switches in. And then again, guys, you've got a choice. I can either go here, or I can go here. I'm going to go there, go on the left, put them all on the outside. Why not? I don't know what keys they are. Okay, so that's the plate all in position, all the key switches in position. It's now time to quickly solder those together. Man spread. I'm not sure it's man spread, but I'm just doing it how I feel it's right. Help if my soldering iron is at temperature. Okay, again, guys, if you've got any questions for me, if there's anything you'd like to know about me or how I do things or projects that I've got ongoing, how life is in general, that kind of stuff, feel free to ask away now. Now is the time, whenever I've got the soldering iron out. That's when I can usually dedicate a bit of brain power to answering your questions best. I'll just do most of this row and then I'll see if you guys have asked any questions. Or even got something for me to comment on. Okay. Almost through the first row. I'm still really unhappy with that reset switch. I'm definitely going to have to go and fix that later. Okay, almost first row done, so time for me to see if you've raised any questions for me in 2 switches, and then we'll carry on with the soldering from there. Let's see what you've got to say. Will Lurton have a logo on the top row? No, we might even lose that blocker in the top right corner anyway, so we haven't decided, but it's probably going to lose that blocker if I was a betting man. Have you already discussed the maglev mount on the lodestone? If not, how do you hope it will feel in use? I hope it will give a soft bottom out, whilst at the same time being quite interesting to type on. So I don't think it's going to be really soft and flexible like something like the IDB60. I think it's absolutely going to be consistent as hell, and that's kind of the main idea behind it, making it as consistent as possible, because you've got the same upward pressure pretty much anywhere on the plate because you've got so many magnets in place. Ideally the typing feel should be the same everywhere. One of the interesting things I do think you might have to do is have stiffer springs than what you're used to, because the board will feel a little bit more bouncy when you're typing on it. Not necessarily flexible. Flex I determine as how far out of position you move it. Bounce would be something that's very different. So flex is, imagine taking a plate and flexing it. Bounce is like, imagine bouncing a bouncy ball on the floor. Those are the 2 very different feelings, and I imagine it's going to be the same in that particular board. But this is the beauty of prototypes. We don't know until we get a prototype in, and I'm really excited to do that. So hopefully it will be soon. Okay. See if there's any other questions. Do you do pizza with pineapple? Yes, I'm a heathen. I like pineapple on a pizza. I think any topping is valid on a pizza if you like it as a person. My favourite pizza topping though has to be those little tiny rojito peppers that you can get that are really juicy and tasty and burst in your mouth with a lot of spicy heat. That would be my favourite topping on a pizza. But yeah, I do eat pineapple on it. You mentioned before more than once that you're comfortable with the ISO and ANSI enter keys. How about the split enter keys? I kind of like split enter more than both ANSI or ISO. If I could pick on every board, I'd just split both the enter keys, because no matter which way you split it, it's the same. It's not split ISO, it's not split ANSI, it's just split enter. And I would probably pick that over anything. It's just a shame that no key set's really compatible with it. The only one I can think of in group buy that was compatible with it was the GMK Calm Depths group buy. I would still pick, even if I did pick that, I'd still pick split left shift and UK ISO keys for the 2 and 3 as well, of course. But I think I'd rather have split enter than anything else. Any plans for a J macro pad? Potentially, nothing permanent. Petition to ban Jay from his own stream. Why? Pineapple and pizza. Oh, the pineapple, I see. Hawaiian pizza is the best. I wouldn't say it's the best, but I do like it. Sludge Kid's here. Hey man, good to see you. Cool Porters, thank you, dude. I've got a few more. I've actually got some of your artisans as well, Mr. Sludge Kid. Don't ask me which ones and put me under pressure on stream because I can't recall offhand, but I do have a few. Maybe only maybe 10 or so, but I've got a few. But very nice to see you on stream. Okay, so we're just going to finish soldering this. Once we've done this, we can then put the LEDs in place and the Pro Micro as well. And then once we've done that, we can test it, make sure it actually works. And then once we've done that, the other thing I don't have is the firmware actually for this. No one's given me any firmware for it, so I hope there's some around. Hedgie, if you're watching, Worldspawn, if you're watching, guys, give me the firmware for this. I think it's already pre-flashed with something, but we shall see. Only 10, what a champion, I appreciate it. Hey man, I tend to keep my artisan collection fairly secret, but I've got quite a few. I don't really like sharing what I have because it usually means I end up getting DMs forever and a day about it. But I've got one case here which has got some more Kaporas in that I had to hand earlier on. I've probably got, I don't know, 45 of these cases, something like that, all stacked up. This is just the ones with the regular artisans that I use quite often. But yeah, anyway, there's a shelf just up there with about those. I like my artisans, what can I say? It's a good part of the hobby to be in. It's not just about keyboards and key sets, it's also about the artisans for me. Okay, so I'm just going to put these LEDs in as well. I'm going to solder this one in first, then we'll put the next one in. There we go, that's the first one done. Again, keeping these legs out of the way. The last thing I want the dog to do is walk on one of those and get one in a paws. That would be horrible. Okay, going to pop the second LED in now. Okay, now Sludge Kid's going to get offended because I've only got 10 of his and I've got so many artisans. Please don't be offended, dude. Okay, there we go. So that's the LEDs done as well. I'm just going to reflow that because I'm not fully happy with that connection, and the other one as well. There we go, that's better. Okay, so now we've done those. The next job to do is the Pro Micro. Why is 4 spelt 4 but 40 spelt without the U? Don't know, couldn't tell you. Could you build a whole board with artisans? Yeah, probably. Would I do it? Probably not. What do I do for a day job? My day job, I work as a program manager stroke product owner for a large financial institution in the UK. Why is the earth flat? No comment. Right, I'm just going to check which way around this needs to go on my lovely picture here. Okay. And it goes just like that. Spot on. Now, what I want to check is that when we put the case on, this is all going to fit nicely. So I know I need to take off the bits and pieces. So okay, so there's not going to be. I can push that nice and tight up against there, and that's okay. And then we can clip the legs afterwards. The Earth is actually a pyramid. The Earth is a jerkin. Well, the Earth's our home, so it should be house-shaped, right? Is that a logical leap too far? Come on. I do hate doing these Pro Micro pins. Okay, almost there. Oops. These are so finicky to do. There we go, that's one side done. Flip this round, move on to the second time. What if you live then in a box? Is it box shaped? I don't know what your house looks like, man, but yeah, sure. Maybe the Earth shape is different for every person, and it just depends on what your house is like, and that's how it is. And if you move house or buy a different house, then it changes to fit the new house. I mean, that makes as much sense as anyone saying it's flat, right? I'm just kidding. In this hobby, it doesn't matter if you think the Earth's flat, round, square, polygon shaped, you name it. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't love you any less. I think you're holding the solder iron too far enough down. You need to hold the tip for maximum control. Yes, so I should hold it here, Gouty, right? Should hold it there, just down here. I can do that. Was that an even box you showed? Yeah. Because I needed so many, I didn't want to spend too much money on the artisan boxes, so I just bought... I've actually got a few that are empty. I think I bought 50 of them at the same time. Who needs skin? Yes, thanks Gary for the tip. I'll remember that. I mean, luckily, unluckily, I've just finished soldering, so unless I need to touch something up, I'm all good to go from today. So there's no more soldering to do, but I'll remember it for next week. It needs none of those things. Logo for poop. It needs none of those things. Right. So now I'm just going to clip these. I always hate doing this because they're always really sharp. Again, I don't want these to get in the dog's paws. I'm going to put them to one side. Now I've lost one. Oh no, no, it's there. It's just hiding. Come here. There we go. Okay, so we'll just clip these off nicely. These are really hurting my fingers when they're flying off. I'm really glad I don't deal with these on a regular basis. Okay, so that's one side done. Just clip the other side flush now. Damn, next time. Yeah, thanks for the tip, Gary. I'll remember that. I don't even want this skin in my personal space. I like my personal space. Absolutely. Yeah. So just to show you what's happening is when I'm clipping these off, they're kind of... Come on, camera, focus. When I'm clipping these off, they're actually flying upwards. And even though my finger's touching, they're kind of punching into my finger. Or my thumb. And it's kind of painful. The sharp edges shooting into you. Yeah, they're just jumping upwards. But I don't want them to go on the floor and then the dog to get them in a pause, because that'd be even worse than me experiencing a bit of pain. Any more boards I plan to do some logo infilling on? It depends on the boards, to be honest. I have got my Jane CE coming. I will probably do some infill on that, I would have thought. Yeah, I don't do these often enough. In fact, actually, one of them's actually just gone inside my thumb. Okay, better idea. Okay, now I can't see what I'm doing. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, that's cool. That's all of them. There we go. So they're now all nice and flush. Let me get rid of these little bits, guys. As I say, I'm really conscious of them getting in the dog's paws, because she will come in here herring round like she always does. So I just want to make sure they're all in one place so I can get a dustpan and brush or the vacuum on them later. Okay, Melodette says, sorry to repeat the question, but do you have any tips for desoldering the USB port from a PCB? Sorry, I hadn't seen the question, I do apologise. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. They're really quite difficult to do. I've never managed to do one successfully. If I was going to do it, I would absolutely ask someone like Yanka or Martin to do it for me, or perhaps even Gouty in chat, because Gouty is an exceptionally talented soldering expert, as we learnt earlier on. Tweezers looked faster, actually. It probably was. I think it's because before I was worried about the pain of them hitting me, and it's not really painful. It's just one of those little things. It doesn't really hurt. Okay, so next step is for me to get all of the layers of the case together. And then, do you know what? I'm going to risk this, and I'm not going to test it until I've built it. Or is that too risky? Should I just test it now? I should just test it now. Yeah, I can't actually risk that. So Captain Salty, yes, this is a TS100. Okay, let's see if this works. Oops. It works. Let's see what switch it brings up. Let me show you guys switch here. Okay, so that's all working. Let's tab, shift. Okay, all working. Okay, great. So it works. There you go, guys. It works. There we go. It works. You guys have seen proof that it works. There's not many keys on it. It works. Okay, let's get rid of switch here. You guys don't want to be seeing that all day. Okay, so now we've done that, the next thing to do is to line up all the layers and make sure we've got these in the right positions. And once we've done that, we can then take it a step further and we can actually put it all together. Screw it. Screw it together. Okay. Put these down there. I'll pick those up after the stream. This has to be the most tedious part about this. Stripping all of this off. I think this is even more tedious than the soldering of the diodes. And while we've got royalty in chat as well, Sludge Kid, anything new coming up? Anything interesting I should be looking out for? Any new partnerships, collaborations you can tell us about? We're always interested to hearing that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen these, Captain Salty, but this is the TS100. It's dead cute, dead simple, dead easy. It heats up in about 10 seconds and cools down in about the same amount of time as well. Even less, 5 seconds. It's really, really good. Interchangeable tips, so you can get chisel tips, you can get angled tips, you can get pretty much everything. Gouty says, no pain, only tingles. I think as well it was only 60 quid, £60, 60 Great British pounds, which is about $75. It wasn't massively expensive. Invincible Luke is here. He says, hey Jay, 6 months ago you said your Vone with brass plate and Zelio is your favourite sounding TKL keyboard. Was this still is your best sounding keyboard? That was my favourite TKL at the time. I wouldn't say it was my favourite sounding keyboard, it was my favourite TKL. There's a very clear distinction there. I think right now, honestly, my favourite sounding keyboards are the JO1 and JO2 because they're pet projects of mine and they were designed with sound in mind. Honestly though, a lot of keyboards sound great. If you want a TKL, which I haven't done one of, then my favourite one is the one that's on the wall here actually, which is a Jer 806, and that sounds absolutely fantastic. That's probably the best sounding TKL I own right now. Okay. Did I get a Flex Virgo? I did, yes. I don't have it yet, obviously, but I did get an FLX Virgo, yes. Flex is in chat, or he was earlier on. He's an incredibly kind gent. Space 65 sounds great. Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. It does sound really great. What soldering tip is best to use? I like to use the rounded tip, but I like to use the chisel tip when I'm doing SMD components. And I have a really, really fine tip. Oh gosh, that sounds horrible. Listen. Sorry. Not sorry, that was fun. It sounded horrible. I can't remember what I was saying now. Thanks for that. You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Now that was a great sound. It was a horrific sound. Oh, it set my teeth on edge. It was like someone running their fingers down a blackboard. ASMR. Yeah, if that's ASMR, I'm doing it wrong. Okay. Let's get ready to finish this off. There we go. ASMR soul, yeah, that's absolutely right. Okay, and then we've got one final layer to go, and then we can start to put some screws in this, and then we can get some keycaps on it. I'm probably going to go with legend correct keycaps rather than rogue correct keycaps. The alphas will be all fine, the modifiers might be slightly wrong, but we should be fine with that. Jerkin to this ASMR, nice. Nice. Okay, so that is the board all ready to go, and this is the kiwi lime colour. Now what I do need to do is make sure that I have all the right parts. So to do this we have a long screw, a short screw, and then a middle piece. So just to give you guys an idea, that is how it's going to be screwed together. So those are going to go like so through there. So the trick now is to take one screw off. Okay. Take one screw off, feed this through, and then screw it all together. Now I don't think that's going to work, so I might have to actually pre-install these. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to have to do is pre-install these parts in the thickest areas. Like so. And then, in fact, I'm going to take that off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in like so, hold it in place, and then put the smaller screw in from the base. And as soon as that thread catches, oops. This is where we have to remember this for the build score, guys. So I might not be able to get it particularly tight now, but at least that's in place. Then we're going to go onto the next side and do exactly the same there. So what I'm doing is basically just catching the screw on the threaded insert, making sure it's starting to tighten. And then I'll go from there to round the board. We're going to do the other side now. Okay, this is quite finicky, but it's going to work quite well. I can see why they've picked this choice, this particular way of doing it. Okay, there we go. This one just seems slightly off. Okay. Alright, I gotta get going. Alarm in 4 hours. Have a great day all. Where does Jerkin put its Pro Micro? Underneath, in the middle. So it goes there. Okay, I can't get that one in. Let's come back to that one in a second. Okay. This is way more difficult to put together than the Lubrigante, I'll be honest. Okay. In fact, do you know what I'm doing? I'm doing this all wrong. I could have made this so much easier on myself. So much easier on myself. Look, so what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm just going to do it like this. This would have been way easier. See how much faster that was? This is what you get for doing streams at 8 PM on a Sunday evening when you've just had a huge Sunday roast and you feel a little bit lethargic. Which is my favourite Doctor? Do you mean as in Doctor Who? Or do you mean just like favourite Doctor that I've ever visited? Or changes the score? LOL. Yeah, I need a Jay's an idiot part of the score. That's what I need. Favourite Doctor, probably Matt Smith if I had to pick one. David Tennant and Matt Smith were my two favourite Doctors. But I would probably pick Matt Smith if I could only ever watch one again. Okay. Which is my favourite Doctor I ever visited? Dr. Burnage. Who was my doctor when I had my appendix out when I was 15. No, 14. 14. She was my attending physician at the time. Not bad. Yeah, she was nice. She was a nice doctor. She was a good doctor lady. Okay, so now those are all in place. They're about as tight as they need to be. The next thing I can do is actually drop these back in place. And this should make it a lot easier. Don't know why I didn't think of this before, but hey, it is late at night and we're just chilling here, right? Okay, so this is why it wasn't aligning quite before. This one in this corner just slightly off. There we go. Push that down nicely, then onto the next layer. Then onto the third layer. There we go. Then we're going to pop this layer on top. Then we're going to pop these two layers on top of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to screw these in. These take a really fine hex key. So I'm going to start in this top corner. I'm going to push it in place. I'm going to screw it down, not so it's super tight, just so it's kind of in place. And then I'm going to come over and do this bottom corner. Talisman Solutions has gone to bed because normally at this point he's posting my preferred tightening methods. I'll tighten it up a little bit more from there. So I'm just going to hold the base, tighten that up. There we go. Do the same at this side. It's about as even as I can get the case. It's not quite perfectly fitting, but it's not terrible. There he is, he's got it. My preferred tightening methods. So as I say, I don't want to over tighten this case or this board, so I'm just going gentle with it. Going finger tight, not overly tightening it, because the last thing I want to do is to damage the acrylic. Can't have too many appendices either. Absolutely. Okay, just 2 more left to go now, guys, and then we can put some bump-ons on the base. Okay, there we go. That is it all put together. Whew. Now we can put some bump-ons on as well. There's no specific marks for these, so I'm just going to go broadly in the corners next to the screw points. There we go. So there we go, guys. That's the Jerkin, all built, put together. There's the USB port when it focuses. It's pretty firm, it's not going anywhere. I love the colour. The colour is amazing. I really, really like this colour. Yeah. Time for some keycaps. Let me put these back in this bag and get rid of that. Definitely a nice shade of green. It's a really nice shade of green. I'm really worried now because I've picked this and this keycap set. It's not going to go. It's going to look horrible. The greens are just going to be too different. Put Handabite on it. Handabite is on my Satisfaction 75, which is just on the wall up here, just there. So yeah, I won't be putting that on here. But right, let's see if we can make some keycaps fit. So, starting in the top corner, we have an escape. So, that's where we shall start. And if this keycap set looks horrible with this particular board, then I apologise, but hey, it was the green set that I had to hand at the time. So, that's what we're going with. Try and turn these round right. So we've got Q there. Okay, we've got a starting point, and then we had Shift ZX. There we go. Let's see. What is that mini keyboard on your right? On my right? Oh, this one. This is just a macro pad. So this is just functions. So these two do my volume. These have got some various other functions. That one turns my PC on and off. Just various functions. Got an escape key there. Trying to find all the alpha keys out. Very little in the way of punctuation. VBN. We did have a tab, which was okay, so I think that's too big a cap for that particular position. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. Okay. Green on green is nice. I was wanting something outrageous. Yeah, green on green can be nice. ERT. Okay. GHJ goes there. My phone's going nuts. People probably messaging me left, right and centre. Okay. Too many keycaps, not enough letters. UIO. key. This is taking way longer than it should do. Okay, where is the next keys that I need? L, J, K, L, K, and M. So on the bottom row we had that, we had the 2 chevrons there, and there's the other one somewhere. We shall find it. We shall find it, guys. Oh, gosh. I should have sorted these keys out prior to the stream so that I could give you guys an easier show. We need the H now. There it is. Right, okay, so that's punctuation done. We just need the open brackets key. I'm sure I've seen it. It is here. I know I've seen it. That's closed brackets one. It's not that one. Ah! Why can't I find this now? I literally saw it a minute ago. No, I can't see it. Typical. There it is. And then we had backspace up in that top corner, so I'm going to try and find a delete or something similar for that. I don't think I have a 1U backspace in this particular keycap set, but if I can find the 1U delete, that will go there. L, and then we had the apostrophe key. So there we go. And then that was enter. So we need a key that fits for enter. So we need a 1.75U enter key. Now I don't think there's one in this base kit that fits that. Probably the lock key will do if that's the right row as well. So we'll put that there. Then in the bottom corner, in fact, actually, I think that was space, wasn't it? Let's put the board back in and test out which keycaps are which. I bought my son a 6 key, which is nice, but only comes with clicky switches and can't use that in the office. Is that a macro pad? Let me just bring up the switch here so you guys can see what I'm pressing again. So just check this bottom row. So ZXCVB space NM. Okay, so they all need to move over one. And that's win. Okay. Oh, hold on. So that's that one. Okay. Oh, tap and hold. It's win. Okay, great. That makes more sense. And that's alt. Oh, okay. Tap and hold. Okay, I see how those are working now. I see how those are working. Jerry Meccan was a 4x2-ish macro pad. I don't really know of any 4x2s. I really like my Ocelot, which is 8 keys. I don't know if there are any 4x2s. I'm not sure I've seen one. Come on. There we go. So now I need a key, a 1U key that I can put there for space. I'm probably going to go with that. That kind of makes sense in my head. Okay. Okay, this was shift, so now I need a shift key for this bottom corner, which shift will do. There we go. Oh, now we're turning on sticky keys. We don't want to do that. Okay, and what was this key? Tab. So now I need a 1.25U key for tab. Let's go with control. It's also got the lock on it, which kind of makes sense for there. And then this key in the bottom corner is delete, so I just want a 1.5U key for delete. We'll go for code. There we go. Okay, so let me get rid of these keycaps now. That's the Ocelot. That's an 8 key. Oh, 4x2. Oh, sorry. Yes, 4x2. Yeah, 8 key Ocelot. Yeah, that's absolutely what I would argue for. Sorry. Yes, you're right, Fabulous. I misinterpreted what it said. I thought it meant 4 or 2-ish key. I was thinking 4 key or 2 key. I can't think of a 2 key one apart from milk. 2% milk. That's good. That's the only 2 key one I can think of. Sorry, I misinterpreted what you were saying at all. I can't think of any 4 key macro pads though. I can't think of a single key macro pad that's got 4 keys on it. Nastaru is a 5 key, I think. So it has a blocker in one corner and 3 across the top and 2 across the bottom, I think, with a blocker. But there we go, guys. So the keyboard is all working. This is it with GMK Royal Alpha. Let's get rid of switches because you guys don't want to see that. There we go. This is GMK Royal Alpha on the Jerkin with Gateron Blacks, completely stock, unlubed. So there we go. I use my macro pad to start up my PC. Yes, if I press that button just there, that one will turn my PC off and turn it back on again as well. Okay, so it's probably time to mute the music and give you guys a bit of a sound test and see what you guys think. You can tell me what you think on the looks, and then we'll do a Jaescore. I think that sounds alright actually. It sounds way better than I was expecting it to. Like the other acrylic board that we built last week. I think I like acrylic boards, guys. Especially in this colour. This colour's great. And the key set works surprisingly well with it actually. The lighter green on these keys works really well with that. It's almost the same. The darker green just accents it nicely. So I think that looks really good. I'm really impressed with the sound though. Yeah, as you say, Wilson, it's quite even across the whole board. It doesn't sound very different. It's very firm, though. It's a lot firmer than the Lubrigante, even though the Lubrigante had a thicker plate. This definitely feels a lot firmer to type on. I think that's just because it's a smaller form factor, and there's not as much space for things to move inside. But I really like this. I couldn't use it on a daily basis, but because it forced me to have to use my thumb for space, and I can't do that very well. Do acrylic boards always have to be layered? So the thing with acrylic boards is you can't mill acrylic. So most boards, like the aluminium ones we see and the polycarbonate ones, they're milled from acrylic. So they'll literally be put into a CNC mill, and that mill will mill channels out of them until they're the shape you want. You can't do that with acrylic because it fractures and snaps and splinters. So to do it with these, what you have to do is you have to laser cut it, but you can only laser cut certain thicknesses, and I think it's up to about 7mm you can laser cut. So yeah, the only milled acrylic is tofu, and I think that's a different variation of acrylic. It's not the same type of acrylic as these. I have got one of those acrylic tofu cases. It feels more like polycarbonate than acrylic when you touch the case. I don't know if it is, but that's how it feels when I touch it. Yeah, so the EO87 is acrylic, and that looks stunning, but I think that's formed acrylic rather than milled acrylic. I think that's literally put into a mould and pressed into the shape. So yeah, I think the tofu is actually polycarbonate, if I'm honest. But I'm happy to be proven wrong on that. If someone knows better than me, please tell me. Okay, so it's time to bring up the Jaescore for the second time today, and then we will try and get this done as quickly as possible. So be ready with your fingers to give us a Jaescore on this. Let me get back to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this down onto the next row. Oh gosh, come on. And then we're going to retitle all this. So this is the Jerkin. Well, let's get rid of everything first. Oh, I want to get rid of that. Okay. There we go, all removed. So now we'll put the detail in. So these are Gateron Blacks. I'm going to put stock in brackets because they're not lubed. And the plate is 3mm acrylic. I've spelled acrylic right. That's right. And I don't know what the price is for this, so I'm not sure. If anyone knows how much these cost, as I say, this did get sent to me by Hedgie, so I'm not sure how much this costs. Yeah, feel free to look at the Jaescore sheet, guys. You can just use the command Jaescore to bring that up. Lolly Knight, I'm not sure. You'd have to ask World Spawn and Hedgie who made this board. But I think it's relatively cheap. I won't put a price in there, and then when we come to some of the scores that mention price, we'll leave those blank and we will take those out of the actual Jaescore percentages as well. So I think there's only the value one on that we'll take out there. So value, we'll just put a dash in there because we know we're not going to use those. And then on the home score percentage, I'm just going to do that out of 60. Okay, so that is that now taken into account, so we won't do the value ones on this. Okay, so ease of build. So guys, timestamp with 14 or later. If you put a score between 0 and 10 into chat now, 10 means it was really easy to build, it was dead easy. 1 means it was almost impossible to build, it was pretty hard. I'm going to give this a 5 because it was pretty okay. I did make it a little bit harder for myself than I should have done because I wasn't paying attention, but I think it was alright. It wasn't difficult to build, everything went together pretty okay. I'm going to give it a 5, dead centre of the road for me on this one. You stabbed your finger. Yeah, but that's just the pro micro things. That just happens with those. Okay, so we'll stop there, guys. Hopefully more people are going to put some scores as we go through this because there's only a few of you. But 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5 and a 6. I'm going to give you guys a 4.5 for that one. So 4.5. Okay, next one is the packaging. Now I'll be honest, this came packed very similar to the Lubrigante. It was in a box which I don't have. My wife stole it to put something else in with bubble wrap, and there was brown paper in there as well. So it's perfectly average. It wasn't going to damage the board in any way, shape or form. There was no damage to the board in transit. It was perfectly okay. So we'll look at 15 timestamps for this. For packaging, just the same as Lubrigante, imagine that, and I'm going to go for a 5 on that one. You guys are all going for 5 on that too. Perfect. Okay, you give it the same score as Lubrigante. That kind of makes sense. What was your guys' first impression on this one? So let's wait for 16 to roll round and then give me a... So 16 now, so scores now, first impressions. When I opened this and showed it off, did you like it? Did you think it looked good? Did you think it looked stupid? Is it too small and impractical? What was your first impression? My first impression was that the colour is dope. I really like the colour. I've lost a screw as well. I've just realised there's a screw missing from this corner. I'll have to fix that later. I think first impression was the colour was great. The design was cool. Also, how am I ever going to get used to using this was my first thought as well. I'm going to go for a 6 on this one, just because it is a little bit like that. But look at 16. Penguin dropping said 5. One Save Gaming says 8. Oh, awesome. So One Save Gaming really likes this. A couple of 4s. A 2 from Depleted Vespine. He's not a fan. Krasios the same. Not a fan either. Talisman says 6 and an 8. Captain Sword says 4 is too small. That's fair. Too small. Good for only auxiliary usage. Interesting way of putting that. Good hobby board. 6. 8. I almost say I'm biased. Fair enough. Fair enough. I meant a 3. Sorry. 3 for still considering layout. Well, it's just first impressions, So you guys seem quite a bit lower than me on this. There's a couple of high scores, but there's quite a lot of slow scores as well. So I'm going to give you guys a straight 5 on that one. Okay, jumping over into the home score then. So we're looking for a 17 timestamp going forwards after Code Monkey's post. What do you think from a style perspective? Is this stylish? Is it not? How do you feel from a style perspective, guys? How does that work for you? 10 would be it's the most stylish thing you've ever seen. 1, no style whatsoever. I have to be honest, I think this is kind of stylish. I think maybe a 7 on this one for me, which is probably really high, and I haven't looked at what you guys are posting, but you're probably posting saying that I'm an idiot now and that you disagree, but I think it's quite stylish. Okay, I'll give you guys a minute to look at that while I find what I did with the other screw, and I'll just put that in. I just missed one in the bottom corner. I'd rather do that before I forget. small. There we go. Okay. There we go. That's fixed. Okay, let's see what you guys went. Looks way more solid when built. It does, yes. 4576 Alice Batarang. That's a great way of putting it. Looks like a Jumbo Juice. Nice. 576664. Let me correct that. 6.5 definitely a showstopper. Okay, so you guys seem to be around a 6.5 on overall. Maybe a 6. Go for a 6 on that one. Okay. Quality. What do you guys think to the quality? I will be honest, the case doesn't fit completely flush on this edge here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it is kind of off, but it's not off in the other corners, so it's kind of perfect on the other side. So it's just slightly the quality on the lasering. The USB port's quite big and open as well. I think my view on the quality, that being said, it's really solid. The PCB works really well. The Pro Micros and everything else were really good. I think I'm probably going to give this a 6 in terms of quality. It's really good for the price, free for me. It's amazing, so a 6 for the quality. Alice's little sister, absolutely. So we've got a 5, a 5, a 4, a 5, a 5, a 6, and a 4.5. Seems to me that you guys are saying a 5 overall, so we'll pop that in. So next one, guys. So we're going to look for a 19 timestamp on this one, or a 20 timestamp. Let's wait for a 20 timestamp actually. But typing sound. What do you guys think is the typing sound? 10 if it sounds amazing. 1 if it sounds terrible. Vanstorm, this is the Jerkin. If you type exclamation mark build, you'll see the details. Sounds good for Lubrigante blacks. I'll be honest, I don't think it sounds as nice as the Lubrigante. I'm going to give it a 6. I mean, it might be the switches, but it sounds better than I expected, I'll be honest, but I'm going to give it a 6. My camera's decided to come out of focus. Hello? Come on, Logitech Brio, come into focus, please. There we go. Okay, so let's see what you guys gave. 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, 7. Build. Why is the build command not working? What's going on there? The build command isn't working. Try it now, guys. Try that command now. There you go, it's working. It's working now. I don't know why that was on there. I just changed one screen, went into it, looked at it, came out, it was working. Okay, so in terms of sound, we were looking for a 20 timestamp. 8.5, 9, 2. Duckcom doesn't like the sound of it. 7.5, 7, 7, 8. Sounds good for Unlubed Gap Black. 7, 6, 7, 8, 7. So you guys really like the sound on that. So in terms of that, I think you're probably on a 7 from there. There's lots of 7s in that, so we'll go for a 7. Type of feel, you guys are going to have to take my word for it. I'm going to give it exactly the same score as the Lubrigante. It feels almost identical, maybe a tiny bit firmer, but not in a negative way. So you guys just have to trust me on that one. It is a 6. Innovation. So guys, give me a score out of 10. Do you think this board is innovative or not? Do you think it adds any more innovation than the Alice that we looked at before, the Lubrigante Alice? Give it a high score if you think there's a ton of innovation here. Give it a low score if you think there's none. I think there's a little bit more innovation in this one because it's a 30% Alice layout, so I'm going to give it some points for that. If I gave the Lubrigante 3, I'm probably going to give this a 6. I think that's quite cool, it's quite different. It's a unique layout, there's no stabilizers, which is a huge win. It's a staggered board with no stabilizers, huge win. I'm absolutely cool for that. There is also the PCB copy paster as well, yes, absolutely. So I'm going to go for a 6 on that perspective. Give you guys a few seconds to finish that. Okay, so where did you guys come out at then? So 6.5, 6, 6, 5, 5, 7, 6, 6, 5, 7, 5, 6. You guys are pretty much on a 6 as well from that perspective. Moving on then, guys, we're looking for a timestamp of 22 or afterwards, or after Golovakos, welcome to the stream, man, after his post. Do you guys think that this is cool? Give it a score out of 10 for cool. So if it's super cool, give it a 10. If it's not cool, give it a 0. Give it a score in between if you think it has some cool stuff to it. Let me know what you think, guys. So Jeremy was first up with a 7. I think it's pretty cool. It's unusual. You don't see an Alice in a 30% very often. It looks like it's missing an entire bottom row and a couple of keys over this side. I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to give it a 7. Give it the same as the Lubrigante, I think. I think that's fair. If you can use it. I'll need to practice on it, I think. I'd need to practice with it. And that's why I didn't type on it properly today, because I will struggle. It's cool but impractical. Interesting. So what does that mean your score is, Penguin Droppings? Okay, let's have a look through. So 23 is a timestamp. So Jeremy said 7, 3 from Depleted Vespine. Krasios gave it a 6. One Save Gaming gave it a 7. Another couple of 6s and a 7 as well. Penguin Droppings gave it a 6. Wilson said if you can use it, it's cool. 8. 7.5 from Pork Chop Express. That is a great username. Pork Chop Express. That's a great username. It looks cool just because there's no big ass spacebar. It's cool but impractical, and a 7. Okay, so I think you guys are a little bit lower than me. There's some high scores and some low scores, but I'm going to put you guys down for a 6. Okay, next up, guys, we're going to talk practicality. We're on to the work score now. Is this practical? Can you put it in a bag? Can you carry it around easily? Can you take it places? Give me a score out of 10. 10 means it's super practical in terms of carrying it around. You can take it anywhere. It's usable. It can sit in your bag. It's pretty light. We can weigh this and I can give you a weight. So in terms of its practicality, it weighs 13 pounds or 13.5 ounces, sorry, 13.5 ounces, and in grams that's just under 400 grams, 386 grams. So it's pretty light, it's pretty sturdy. I have to be honest, I think if you could use the layout, which does let it down a little bit, it'd be quite practical from the size standpoint and the usability standpoint, and the fact that it's not overly expensive and you could take it around and chuck it in a bag. So it loses marks for the layout not being accessible to everyone, so I'm going to give it a 6 just on that basis. Let's see what you guys said. 2 from One Save Gavin, he doesn't think it's particularly practical. 9 from Sir Captain Salty, he thinks it's super practical. Got to be honest, a 4, 8, 9, if you can use it 8. 0 is a primary, easy to carry. If you're new to it, 3. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so go on that call a 6. Small, but I doubt I can use it before I end up throwing it at someone's head if I can't type on it properly. That's fair. 13 pounds, yeah, 13 ounces I meant, sorry, not 13 pounds. 7 as an auxiliary just described before. Yeah, alright, okay, she's thick. If that was 13 pounds, then I'd be an idiot. Extending the layout 9, but like considering for me it's unusable. That's fair, that's fair. 2, maybe higher if it was wireless, can't use it as an aux. Clavier's here as well. Good evening, good sir. Welcome to join the show. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, so I think you guys are a little bit all over the place with this one, but I don't know how to call it because you've got numbers that are all over the place. I'm just going to give you the same as me because it's probably the easiest way out. Let's go for a timestamp of 26 now. So is this something that's going to be accepted in the office? If you had this in this colour on your desk at the office, is that going to be accepted? Is it going to draw unwanted attention? Are people going to be asking where your spacebar is and why have you got a weird laid keyboard out? Why does it look like a kiwi on the desk? Give me a high score if it's going to be absolutely fine in your office, so 10 if it's going to be perfectly acceptable and no one's going to bat an eyelid. Give me a 1 if it's going to cause everyone to look at it and wonder what it is. For me on this one, just because of the colour, which is awesome, I love the colour, I think it's probably going to be a bit low, and also because of the layout I'm going to give it a 4, just because people will ask because of the way it looks, I think, very much so in that perspective, so I'm going to give it a 4 from my view. Let's see what you guys give it from a work score then, sorry, from an office acceptance score. A couple of 2s, 5, a 2, a 1 from Clavier, 3, it will draw attention but not of the good kind. Well, yeah, and any attention you could see is bad. 10 just to troll everyone, says Penguin Dropping. I'm not going to count that. I work from home, so 10. I would count that because that's a fair assumption, said Captain Salty, absolutely. Everyone else is on 5. 10, they've learned to stop asking questions, says Vanstrom, fair enough. And then Hedgie gives it a 7. Welcome Hedgie to the stream right at the very end, good to see you. Functional subscribed at tier 1, thank you very much for that. Lodestone looks amazing, nice work Jay, thank you very much dude, I'm really glad you like it. Oh, thanks, you've been watching. So you weren't going to help out when I was struggling, right? Okay. And Golov Cos as well, subscribed to Twitch Prime, thank you very much dude, really appreciate that. Okay, so your guys' scores again are all over the place. I feel like the average is a little bit lower than mine, so I'm going to give it a 3. Final work score related. So if we're in the office, I'm talking, is this too loud? Is it going to be, you know, impacting on your ability to hear what I'm saying? Can you hear the music in the background still, or is that okay? If it's really impacting the sound, give it a low score. If it's really distracting, give it a low score. If it doesn't matter too much, give it a high score. If you can hear me just fine and you can hear the music just fine and it will be fine in the office, give it a high score. For me, I'm going to give this a 6, I think, because it's probably a little bit on the louder side compared to the Lubrigante, but it's not obnoxious, so I think I'm going to go for a 6. I'll give you guys another minute or so to keep on filling that out. Okay, so let's see where you guys got to. Jeremy starts off with a 7, 7, 7 from the first 3 guys, a 4 from Depleted Vespine, 5 from Clavier, 3 from Duckcum, 6 from Unsaved Gaving, 7, 7, 6, 5. Is Jay still talking or just clacking? Ooh, fair enough, fair enough. 4, 6, 7, and Penguin Droppings comes in with an 8 as well at the end. Okay, so I think you guys are again all over the place. This is really divisive. The scores are hugely disparate, but I think realistically you're probably around a 6 as well. So I'm going to go for that too. There we go. Okay, so where does that put us in terms of the scores? That comes out with a D rating. In terms of the actual score itself, I give it a 54%, so I think it's better than what you guys think it is, because you guys give it a 50%. I suspect that the reason for the low score when we talk through it is just because of the layout itself, because that's not usable to most people. I'm going to give it a good go. I'm going to try and use this with my iPad for the next couple of days when I'm on the train instead of my Equinox, and I'll see how that goes. I just need to find a USB, a micro USB to USB-C connector or something like that. See if I can get that to work. In terms of my final position, I need a hot take on this. Lost for words. I'm gonna try Jerkin that Jerkin. There we go. We'll go with that because I don't know what else to say. It's a total meme, but it's cool as hell, and the Jaescore kind of doesn't lend itself well to these kind of memes sometimes, but I think it's great. It's a good looking dumpster fire. That's a really good way of putting it, Duckcum. I'm gonna steal that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna credit you for it as well. But I'm gonna steal that and I'm gonna put that in here as well. There you go. So Duckcum, you are the first person to also have a comment in my Jaescore sheet. But there you go. It's a good looking dumpster fire. That's a great way of putting it. Price was $60 US shipped. Okay, great. So I can put that in. I didn't know how much it was, Hedgie, so I can put that in. Which does mean actually we can go back and do the value score now. So we didn't do the value before. So guys, bearing in mind that this is $60, give me a score out of 10. 10 if you think that's great value for money, 0 if you think that's horrible value for money. Go guys, give me a score out of 10 for value, and we'll update this and see if that affects the score. While you're doing it, I think $60 is a bargain for this. I'm going to give that a 9 because I think that's a great price for it. Well done to Hedgie and WorldSpawn for getting it in at that price. While you guys are just voting, I'm just going to go back and fix my percentages because otherwise it won't count that in. So let's come back and need a community score for this. Okay, so I'm really glad you came up with that, Hedgie, and told me. You said you were here all along. I asked that 3 or 4 times. You clearly weren't here. You lying idiot. I didn't want to say something funny there. Okay, okay, so 9, 7, 9, 8, 9, 6, 7, 9, 8, 8, 8, 9. With PCB, yeah, it came as everything I built it with today, apart from the keycaps and switches, it came with Looped Helios. So yeah, everything was here. Knocking off 1 point just for the fact you can't probably type on it well. That's fair. Don't be cheap, absolutely. Dock 2 points for Fibs. Yeah, dock 2 points for Fibs. Lying sack of dumpster fire. Yeah, didn't even get credit for asking about the price. Shaking my head. Oh, well, thank you, Kresios, for asking about it. 9 for sure, maybe a 10. Okay, you guys are quite high on this. Probably a little bit lower than me because there's some 7s and 8s in there. I'll just put you down as an 8. Let's see what that did to the score. It's gone up to a C, guys. It's no longer a D. It's now a C. There you go. It's now 61% and 57%. That does put it above the HB60. It puts it in line with my score for the Unicorn. It puts it in line with my score for the Matrix 1.2 OG. It does get a C grade. So there we go. Well done, guys. Hedgie, you get a C for this. This meme gets you a C. Rigged. The only one that's rigged on here was the ISO, which got an A+, because I love ISO enter, so that was the only one that was rigged. So please don't take that one into consideration. But there you go, same score as Matrix 1.2 OG. Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge with these scores. It's not always accurate. I think it's actually technically better than the Brass Keycle as well. Oh no, it's not. The Brass Keycle got 72%. So it's not far away from the Brass Keycle scores. So there you go. But there we go, guys. That's the Jaescore for this particular one. We'll take that away now. That's gone. So yeah, that is the Jerkin. Matrix or the Jerkin, the choices. Yeah, I mean the Jaescore is not designed to help people pick which keyboards to buy. That'd be a really bad idea. It's designed to help people understand what I like and what the community thinks of different boards, not to necessarily compare them against each other. They're all judged on their own right and in their own merit, so not against each other but on their own merit, and that's how you have to see it. But there we go, guys. That's the Jerkin. So there we go. I think that's probably it for the stream today. We've done a build and we've done 2 Jaescores. I'm gonna call it a night in the next couple of minutes. If you've got any questions, now's the time to get them in. I buy all my keyboards after the Jaescore. Well, I always say not to do that, but there we go. Good family photo of Alice's. Yeah, we can put a couple of Alice's next to each other, or Alice style layouts. There we go. There you go, guys. The big brother and little brother. There you go. Recommend as a 4x2 macro pad. That one, the Ocelot. Go get it. Go buy it. Go support Singer keyboards because that's damn good. The Ocelot. Look. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. Look how nice this is. It's a little bit dusty. It's got the branding on the front. On the base of it, it's got a solid brass piece with a nice Ocelot cat on it. USB-C. It's freaking great. Go buy one. It's hefty. For the size of it, it weighs the same as that. It weighs the same as that. So there you go. Okay, so there we go, guys. One in stock. Oh, I don't know of any in stock. I have no idea. Waiting for the Flex Virgo now. Yeah, Flex was watching earlier on. I'm not sure if he's left, but yes, I got one too. Paid my invoice earlier on today. Excited to try and get that one. Ocelot is out of stock. Go bug Elaine from Singer and tell her to get more. Tell her I sent you as well. Tell her Jay recommended the Ocelot. I want to buy one. Go say that. Should I drop $510 on 113 Hirose orange switches and some old Trip quad shot caps? Can I flip that all? No, absolutely not. So I have some of those keycaps and some of those switches, and they are not worth that much money. I paid 30 quid for them, 30 British pounds. That included the switches as well. So yeah, don't. I think I've got about boards with maybe 300 Hirose switches in. I've not paid $300 for the lot. So whilst there are expensive ones out there and some people do charge high prices, I would not spend that much money on them. $5 a piece. The quad shot caps are not worth the money. They're you can't use them on much. So yeah, and the flipping at the end, no, why would you flip it? I don't understand why anyone flips in this hobby. I always sell stuff at the price I buy it for, or less sometimes. So there you go. What do I think of MX lock switches for price and practicality? They're fun, but only if you're using a full bottom row and everything else, and you're using caps lock as caps lock. If you're using caps lock as control, which I do on most boards, it's absolutely useless. I only have it in Alps build, so my Borsdorf I've got an Alps lock switch, not an MX one, but I've got an Alps lock switch in there. So there we go, guys. That's it. That's everything for the stream. I'll be back on Thursday with the standard Top Clack review stream where we talk about interest checks and group buys. So please come and check that out. That's at 6 p.m. Pacific time or 2 a.m. European time for me. Yay! But other than that, guys, that's going to be it for this week. Thank you very much for being here with the journey of the 2 Alices in the past 2 weeks. I'm hoping next week to build my Mechanist Type X, which is a new tray mount case. I'm waiting for some switches to come in for that. They should be here this week. As long as they are, then that will be built next week. If not, then my TGR Jane CE is on its way, so maybe that'll be here next week. If it is, I might build that. Yeah, and of course, go check out the Lodestone interest check between myself and Flex as well from the Virgo. Cool. Right, guys, that's going to be it for today. There's no more questions coming in, but thank you very much for watching. I'm going to see you later. Did I get a Con one? Yes, I did. I bought one of those as well. It's been a very expensive weekend, so I definitely got one of those Clavier. It took a lot longer to sell it than I thought it would. But right then, guys, I'm going to go for now, so I shall see you all later. Thank you very much for watching, and do come and join us and chat in the Discord. See you later, guys. Bye.